Hey Cougs, welcome back to another CoogsTalk where we give you all the latest topics in sports. Today I'm here with Kenneth and Alliyah, and we're just going to dive right into it. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah? Alright, so first we're going to be talking about the NBA. Of course, they're about to start the season. Let's get it started with talking about the Dame trade. I was getting traded to the Bucks. Do you guys think he has an opportunity to, win a championship? How are you guys feeling?
Yeah, when you got the Milwaukee Bucks and you had a guy like Damian Lillard, that definitely turns them into a contender. They already were a contender with Giannis, Chris Middleton. You traded with Jrue Holiday. He's a member of the Boston Celtics now. So I guess I can say that's a future Eastern Conference championship matchup.
Okay. And how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I mean, I feel like one of the funnest things about the NBA is just like the culture around, like big threes and power duos and all of that stuff. So he's finally in one, and I think he's like excited about it. At least from an interview I saw with him, he was just like, I want to win, So I think there's a lot of potential, but I mean, I don't know. Do you feel like he feels the pressure, or he is so used to it that he's just?
He has been a guy that's been preaching like loyalty. Like he's been into conversation with other NBA players about changing teams, stuff like that. So I feel like he kind of was begging to leave Portland, but at the same time, you signed a deal, they paid you, so you kind of signed a deal knowing what team was around you already, and then once you turn around and say, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. But I still, I'm happy for him. He has a chance to win a championship, so,
I mean, yeah, I think they'll do a really good job either way. Whether they make it to the end or not, it's like obviously they're going to do good things.
Yeah.
Okay. And I agree with you guys. I think that, him and Giannis are definitely going to have an opportunity to, at least get close to a championship, if not, like, build towards that. Now let's get into NBA Media Day. I don't know if you guys saw, but we had some crazy things come out. We had Jimmy Butler and his look. How do you guys feel about that? I know he does that every year.
Yeah. He was slaying with that new haircut on there and the lip gloss, I think. I don't know all that he did, but yeah, this is the first time I've kind of like seen. I haven't seen previous years when he did stuff, but this definitely got the attention. There were so many memes and stuff, and it was hilarious. But I can't tell. Is he bored? Like, is he just trying to?
Yeah,
is he just trolling?
I think he is just trolling a little bit because he did it last year with the dreads, and then he went back to his normal style, but. It is kind of, funny a little bit because they have to use that picture for their whole year unless they just like, we're not going to use it.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Right. I think he's just trying to get some attention.
Yeah. It's just some, marketing, PR noise.
For sure. It worked.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you guys ready to jump into the next topic? You guys ready?
Yeah, sure.
We're going to go ahead and talk about the NFL. Week 4. I know we had the big game with the Dolphins with the blowout against the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can go ahead and talk about that. We have the Texans. You guys want to just talk about those games, how you feel, and any other games that you guys just talk about?
Yeah, Dolphins last week, they blew out the Broncos. This week, they kind of were, brought down to earth a little bit. I would say the Bills beat them. It wasn't like too bad, but they did lose to the Bills.
No, yeah, I heard someone else say that. Like, when you're at such a high like that, I mean, there's no way for you to continue that week after week. It's just, like, the odds of that happening. But
it's just like, you can't put up 70 every week.
Yeah, and I think people were probably expecting them to at least win. But I agree that maybe they got a little bit cocky and were like, oh, we've got this, obviously.
Yeah.
But, they're kind of giving me whiplash a little bit. But I think that it obviously just shows they're not unstoppable. But, like, none of them are. Like, they all can figure out things that they can improve on. Even the Eagles, other big teams like that. So I think I feel like that's what makes it fun though at the beginning of the season, because you never really know what's going to happen. It's all unexpected, who's going to outplay who. Towards the end of the season, it's harder because, you already know what the outstanding teams are, so it's harder to care. But this way, like at the beginning, it's just what I love about it, is because you never know. So that's exciting.
Speaking of the Eagles, I think right now the Eagles aren't really showing that they're like a serious ball team right now. Let's say last week they played the Buccaneers. Jalen Hurts had 2 interceptions, kind of some dumb interceptions. This week they played the Commanders. Wasn't really a good game for the Eagles. Jalen Hurts had some good numbers, but
I mean, that was close.
Yeah, it was a close game. I feel like the Commanders aren't that good of a team. They should have blew them out, but it is a rivalry at the end of the day. So those division rivalries are like usually close games. Even like usually although they are a lesser team, they put up a good fight against their division rival.
Okay, I have another question for y'all. I'm from Daleigh, so I just want to know, the Cowboys, everyone hates on the Cowboys, but they are making some noise this year.
They have a.
I mean, yeah, they're a good team. I'm not gonna like sit here and deny. I don't like them, but they are a good team. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say they're not, especially like Prescott and stuff. So, I mean, what do you think about that?
The Cowboys, it's just they're the Cowboys. Like I feel like they do have good regular seasons. They perform in the regular season. It's just once they get to the playoffs. But this year they have a defense. The defense is like putting up amazing numbers. They did suffer the loss of Trevon Diggs towards ACL, so that's a big loss. But it seems like they're still, they aren't really feeling that loss too much. But they do have a tough matchup this week against the 49ers.
Yeah, that's one that I always have a tough time with. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into my favorite topic, which is college football. Now, as far as UH football goes, we're having a rough season. It is our first year in the Big 12, so it's gonna probably take some work for us to get really are super competitive with these teams like TCU and Baylor, et cetera, et cetera. How do you guys feel about UH football this year? What do you guys think? Do you think we're gonna be able to compete in the Big 12 coming up, or how are we doing right now?
I don't know. I feel like this year is kind of the year that we should be making noise in the Big 12, because next year we are getting new members in the Big 12. So I would say it's going to be a tougher conference next year. Just going into that game versus Texas Tech, I think the first half they had probably the best offense they ever had this whole year in that first half, and then the second half it was just non-existent. So I don't know. They need to figure out. I would say they need to figure out more on the offensive side of the ball than the defensive side of the ball, because the defense has played good all year, in my opinion. Special teams have been making plays. It's just they got to figure out an offense. Donovan Smith, I like Donovan Smith. A lot of people don't, but he's good in my eyes.
And that must have been interesting, because he used to play for Texas Tech, and then he's like competing against them. So I'm sure that wasn't nothing to him. You know what I mean?
Still a lot of pressure.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, facing your former team.
But I'm open to giving them some mercy, just because I feel like it is their first year, in the conference and stuff. And I don't know, it's a lot to take on, I think, and like growing pains type thing that people talk about. But yeah, I mean, that one wasn't like the best to watch. There was just a lot going on.
The first half it was amazing. Second half.
Yeah, it was over. I mean, there was no point of it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me ask you guys, what was your favorite game this year so far that you've watched, as far as UH football goes, even if they lost? I know we had a lot of nail biters this season. So what do you guys?
Honestly, really, from the defensive side of the ball, really all the games, because I feel like the defense was making plays. I say, but favorite probably Sam Houston, because that was a blowout.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, no, I would agree with you completely. That was just, I mean, it's just way better when you win. I don't know what else. You know what I mean?
All right, so I know Colorado's been making national headlines. Deion Sanders and his son and his previous team, he brought players from Jackson State with him to Colorado. He had a lot to say. He's very confident as far as his abilities, to rebuild a team and coach. So, they've had a decent, schedule so far. They've done decent. They did lose last week to a top 10 team, but it was 48-41. Mm-hmm. Do you think that if he continues to work with this team, they have a chance at, winning a national championship, competing seriously against these top teams in the future? How do you guys feel?
I think right now, the only thing with Colorado is just they need more players on the line of scrimmage. They need offensive linemen and defensive linemen. But other than that, they have excellent skill position players like, Shador Sanders, quarterback. You have Travis Hunter. You have Xavier Weaver, Jimmy Horn Jr. You got Cormani McClain. With Cormani McClain, a lot of people have been asking Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, when he's going to play, because I think he hasn't really gotten any real playing time until this last game. Just because, he's a 5-star, so obviously he has some type of attention around him. And everyone's asking Deion when he's going to play. I think, I guess he got something going through him through this last week to give him some playing time, because Deion Sanders said that he has to go to film and watch film and go to meetings. things like that, and that's what was keeping him off the football field.
I will say I do respect that about Dion. I mean, I know he doesn't care how good you are. He wants you have to work hard like every other player. I think that particular player came in from high school thinking, like, I'm going to start, I'm a 5-star, but Dion said that he checked all of the players' like film time, and he lacked a lot of that film time. How do you feel about that, do you think?
I mean, I know that other people were saying like both teams have major injured players and that made it less important than it should have been, but I don't agree. I mean, I just think it's nice to see some other people get some playing time and just see what they're capable of too. I know they all want to win, but it's just nice to see a change. And I think, they're making some mistakes, Colorado, but ultimately I think they can pull it back together and do great. I mean, USC is always going to have like the best picks, you know what I mean? So
it's like, this top 10 team in the country.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's always going to be a hard team to go against. So I think Colorado definitely still has a chance. It's not like the end of the world.
Okay, and I don't know if you guys saw the Colorado versus Colorado State game. I know that was a big deal.
Yeah.
The coach had talked about Deion Sanders, and his whole team was saying that game was personal now. That game was super close. Were you guys watching that game? I know that game was like a nail biter.
Yeah, I did. I didn't get to watch it live, but I did see what happened in that game. Travis Hunter had went down with an injury. They called it a dirty hit from Henry Blackburn on Colorado State. I don't think the game. I think if Travis ended up playing that game all the way, it probably wouldn't have been as close. And then also, I feel like if he was available for the Oregon USC game, those probably would have been more competitive.
Okay. How do you feel about that? Do you think?
Yeah, at least from what I've heard, people are saying Travis is like the major one who makes or breaks the game, which is a huge deal.
Right. You have a player that's excellent on both sides of the ball, so it's not much you can do to stop that.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other topics or games that you guys saw that you just wanted to go ahead and touch on from that college?
I know for the NFL, I know we were talking about like the Houston Texans and just like the J.J. Watt ceremony, which was a really nice like gesture, I think, to him. And just, I don't know, it's one of those things, there's so many NFL players that to stand out, I feel like it takes a lot. And he's probably been like the most energetic and like hype guy I've seen on the field, like playing. Most of them are like very serious and they want to get a job done, but he just like totally hyped everyone up whenever I would see him play. So I think that definitely made him stand out. And also just everything he did off the field too, like raising all that money for Harvey, and it just showed he was able to like get outside of himself and cared about being part of a team, which I think really made him different. And I saw the ceremony, it looked nice, and then for Houston to go on and win the game with CJ was also really nice. I think it was just a good day overall at NRG.
Yes, CJ Stroud, he's been balling out this year. Just on the rookie quarterbacks, we got CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson. He had a good game against the Rams. It almost led them to a 23-0 comeback. They ended up going to overtime, and the Rams won that game. But Anthony Richardson, he's been good this year. He had like a concussion like a couple weeks ago, so that kept him out of last week's matchup. But I think for Rookie of the Year, at least Offensive Rookie of the Year, is CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. The only other NFL one I noticed was, I know a lot of people probably don't care, but like the Broncos, at least it just was funny to me because I think the big guy upstairs saw Garrett Bowles' post-game interview last week, which, did you see that?
Yeah.
He was so sad and it was like so vulnerable, so it was like, took me back a little bit, but I think, God saw that and took mercy on him and was just like, all right, Garrett, I'll throw you a win. And then so hopefully he had like a lot of celebratory drinks after that. Actually, he's Mormon, so I don't think he drinks, but whatever he does for fun, maybe he went on a hike and had a protein shake or something.
Yeah, speaking on that game, Broncos versus Bears, I think the Bears were up like 28-0 early, and Justin Fields, he really threw the game away on the last possession, and the Broncos ended up winning that game by about 3 points, I think. And also, speaking on the Broncos, Dexter Lawrence was cut by the team. He had signed a 5-year, $70 million deal, ended up being cut. So that's just another blunder to the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, and it was just weird seeing them going up against the Bears because I think both are not doing well.
They're not doing that good at all.
But also, like, this is the first time I saw the paper bag thing. Have you seen that? Where like the fans of really bad teams.
I think that's kind of common with sports, and like if your team's doing bad, you know, you put the paper bag on.
I've been under a rock because this is the first time I've seen this, and I was like, why did I never do this with the Texans? But whatever.
But I guess another game we could talk about, the Seahawks and the Giants.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, that was pretty sad to watch. I mean, like seeing Daniel Jones and just like utter defeat. I mean, no, I saw that, and then all the sacks that happened,
Yeah,
I kind of felt bad
sacks.
for him a little bit. I mean, I know he has his issues as well, but I mean, what did you think about that?
Well, my team is the Seahawks. So,
Oh, okay.
You know, I was pretty excited.
You were
about
happy.
that game. Yeah. I think the defense showed out, like 11 sacks. Rookie 5th overall pick Devin Witherspoon.
Oh yeah, he was amazing in that game.
He had the sack, he had the pick 6. He had some pass breakups. He just had an amazing game. He got, I think he ended up getting Defensive Player of the Week for the NFC.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I know, like all the Seahawks fans, including myself, we did win Jalen Carter at number 5, but Devin Witherspoon, he showed out.
Yeah, he was very excited too. He was so happy, which is always fun to see. So.
All right, y'all. So I know a lot of people aren't in favor of the NBA's participation policy. Do you guys have any thoughts about that? I know that's been making a lot of media headlines. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm gonna let you take the reign on it just because you know more about it.
Okay, so basically, if you don't know what the participation policy is teams can't rest their star players multiple games, or usually just for national TV games because they want to generate revenue. They want to have, you know, the star players play because the NBA is a league based around the star players. I don't really have too much of an issue with the participation policy. Just for if your player is able to play and the game is on TV, then they should be playing. Just because a lot of times if I'm trying to watch the game and, you know, the person I want to see playing isn't playing, I'll probably turn it off. So, but the thing I have an issue with is they're kind of gearing this participation policy. The media is kind of gearing it towards the LA Clippers, their star players, you know, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. A lot of people don't watch the Clippers, but the media, everyone's just kind of piling on them right now about it, just because Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, they have missed a lot of games, but they're not resting, they're not choosing not to play. They have legitimate injuries, and if you're hurt, you can't play. A lot of people don't know, or they should know, last year Kawhi tore his ACL. This year in the playoffs he tore his meniscus. You can't play on a torn ACL, you can't play with a torn meniscus. So, you know, that's just my take on it.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of torn because I definitely, like, at the end of the day, it's a fans' game. I mean, you're paying for tickets to go to the stuff and sponsors and all that. Like, that's how we get to watch. But also, I can kind of see how, you know, they don't want to be overworked even to a point. I mean, you know, so I guess putting them in there a little bit for each game is not that big of a deal. But I wouldn't, like, suggest, you know, that this lead to them being forced to play every single game at all times.
Well, yeah,
you know what I mean?
Obviously it's not, they're not forced to play every game, or some players, they have minor injuries, they might want to sit out.
Yeah.
You know, also it's just, you know, a player might choose to, if he has a minor injury, he might choose to sit out just because, you know, it might turn into something more. You know, and then when you get hurt, that does affect your salary because dudes get hurt. You know, eventually it might be a contract year, you get hurt and then you don't get paid. I think about a guy like Isaiah Thomas back when he was on the Celtics and he played with his injury, and that ultimately ended up derailing his career because he wasn't the same player after that.
No, yeah, so that I agree with you totally. Like, should not be forced. Like, if you have a minor injury, definitely like making them go out there and try to just like push through it. Like, I definitely don't agree with that because, like you're saying, it can make it just way worse.
Okay. Do you think that this can like open up opportunities for players, or do you think it's just like more so a negative thing?
I mean, there is, you know, positives and negatives to every situation. I believe, you know, it does. More players, you know, you're more, the star players are more likely to be on the national standpoint just because they're playing. They can't rest them, but it's just, you know, if a dude is hurt, then he's hurt. You know, there's nothing you can do about that.
Right. Okay. So everybody's favorite topic, we're gonna go ahead and talk about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. That has been making headlines. I mean, it's still all over the media. It'll probably be there the whole
everywhere.
Season. I mean,
yeah.
I know a lot of people. Yeah, I know a lot of people are saying that Taylor Swift has like given Travis Kelce this name, but Travis Kelce's been a great player before. He's one of the best in the league. How do you feel about that? Do you think she's giving him all this credit now, or?
No, I think definitely he was definitely big before that. But if we're talking about like on a scale, yeah, she is bigger. I mean, like not that's even, they're both big, they're both great, but like he definitely, I mean, the numbers are there too, where he's just like all his jersey sales and like his Instagram followers, all this stuff is going up. So I definitely think she's kind of like helping him a little bit. But I mean, I also think that they genuinely do kind of like each other, and they're just kind of like milking it for all they can. Like both things could be true. Right. But I'm just excited that we get to see 55-year-old white dude commentators have to talk about this, because I don't know when we'll get to see this again. So, yeah.
I have a question for you specifically. I know I've seen a lot of videos where like women will go up to guys and be like, like Taylor Swift made Travis Kelce. Like, does that offend you as a guy? Like, I don't.
I mean, if they're like 9 times out of 10 if someone says that, they're probably trolling. So
yeah.
if someone, like, I know when someone's trying to troll me, so I was just like, all right, that's cool. Like, you just don't know ball. But I mean, Taylor Swift did not make Travis Kelce. I mean, he's 2-time Super Bowl champion.
Right.
Best tight end in the league. So it is what it is. I mean, she has given him a name outside of the sports world, I would say. But within sports, if you turn on the game every week, you know who Travis Kelce is.
Right.
And like it will die down. Obviously, like everything does. So I think everybody's just trying to take advantage of it right now. But hopefully they're having fun as well and not feeling too much pressure. But
I agree. I think it'll be a while. I think even Patrick Mahomes in one of his interviews was talking about it. It's kind of crazy. I didn't realize how big she was until this.
Yeah.
I know she had her tour, but like holy cow, like they love this lady. Like she's the truth. So. And
I know she goes back on tour in November, so she obviously can't be at those games.
Right.
So.
Right.
I mean, I feel like as long as they keep showing it on TV, like, the numbers are going to go up.
I know those views are high.
Yeah. I think they said that the Chiefs versus Jets game was like the most watched since like the Super Bowl, something like that.
Crazy. Thanks for watching this episode of CoogsTalk. I'm Christin, Campbell, joined with Kenneth and Alliyah. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Go Cougs!